What's up, everyone? Welcome to the December 14th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays, brought to you by BetMGM. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoney DFS. We have a 10-game NBA slate to break down tonight. As always, we're going to look at 5 of the top tournament options using the Boom Bust tool on the Stokastic.com website. But first, before we get started, click the link in the description below. Sign up and make a deposit at BetMGM. You'll receive a risk-free first bet on your first bet up to $1,000. So click the link below to take advantage of that offer from BetMGM. Now, as a reminder, there are 10 games on this slate. There is a ton of pending injury news today. So things are very likely to look different by the time we get around to lock than they do right now. Be sure to tune in to the deeper dive and live before lock shows starting at 4:45 Eastern on the Stokastic YouTube channel for more up-to-date information. But as things stand right now, coming in at number 5, Lou Dort, projected for 9% ownership with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Dort has shooting guard and small forward eligibility and is $5,300. You're likely to get around 30 minutes from him, and his price tag has come down enough to where, at least right now, before more value opens up, he does look like an under-owned option. Number 4, Charles Bassey, 11% projected ownership, 12% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Bassey is center only at $5,100. He's likely to start tonight with Jakob Poeltl out and Zach Collins unlikely to play for the Spurs. If he does start, we can expect mid to upper 20s from Bassey, and he's well over a fantasy point per minute producer. If he comes off the bench, he is still likely to play enough minutes to be a viable option, but he would certainly be riskier. Number 3, Bones Highland, 8% projected ownership, 13% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Highland is point guard only at $5,300. His playing time is volatile, but typically you're going to get 22 to 28 minutes from him off the bench. And he's a very good point per minute fantasy producer. So at modest ownership, he's the kind of guy that I like taking chances on, especially if we don't get more value opening up. Number 2, Darius Bazley, 7% projected ownership, 13% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Bazley has small forward and power forward eligibility at $3,800. This is probably the first time that I've mentioned 2 Oklahoma City players in this video in months, if not all season. So there's certainly some risk here, and anybody that's been playing this year knows that. No matter how shorthanded Oklahoma City is, they do typically find ways to mess up their rotation from our point of view. But as of their most recent injury report, they have several players in the G League, including 2 of their bigs. They also are not going to have Jeremiah Robinson Earl tonight. So there should be minutes available for Bazley, who is around a 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy. If we can get him into the low 20s in playing time tonight, he's likely to pay off this very cheap salary. And number 1, Bogdan Bogdanovic, $6,000 with shooting guard and small forward eligibility. Bogdanovic played about 34 minutes in regulation 2 games ago, followed by about 31 minutes in regulation last game and another 5 in overtime. It's likely we get 30-plus minutes from Bogdanovic again tonight. DeJounte Murray remains out for the Hawks. Bogdanovic has averaged about a fantasy point per minute this season, and Trae Young is also questionable. If he were to miss this game, Bogdanovic would look even better. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on FanDuel: number 5, Lou Dort; number 4, Charles Bassey; number 3, Bones Highland; number 2, Darius Bazley; and number 1, Bogdan Bogdanovic.